Wow, we made it, folks. The one live stream this entire week. And here I am. I'm healed, healing, not healed, but healing. But I'm doing pretty good, all things considered. Thank you all for your patience. And sorry, I was gone for a couple days there on Wednesday and then again on Friday. But I caught a nasty bug. A really weird one though. It was like not like any of the usual things that I catch annually. Of course, I got the minion, so he goes to the elementary petri dish and drags things home for me. So I get to experience all of the fun of the latest strains making the rounds. But yeah, it was really weird the way this one hit. It really just went right to my throat. I mean, it didn't really start in my nose or anything. It just was like all of a sudden, and it wasn't really a sore throat ever. It wasn't like a sore throat. It's just been raspy. And then, maybe upper respiratory a little bit too, but, and then, it was just annoying. And it wasn't until yesterday, actually, I was planning on trying to, muscle through a show just to, because I hate missing doing this. I really do love doing these shows. And so when I gotta miss it, it's like, God, I hate that. I feel like I'm letting you guys down. I feel like I'm letting me down. This is just something I really enjoy doing. And so it's, an important thing in my world. And, I really do love connecting with you guys and doing these shows together. But I was just like just laying on the couch before the show started and was like, oh, God. I really don't feel right. And then I realized I was getting a fever. So a fever set in yesterday. And then I was like, oh, God, I can't do this yet. So I quick texted out onto social media, Facebook. I'm sorry I didn't make a post here on YouTube to let you guys know, but I was just like, oh, my whole body was just, starting to ache and stuff. And I'm like, oh, no. So I just wrapped up and slept on the couch for hours. And I think I woke up at about about 1, and then I stayed awake for a couple hours. I actually caught part of Cade's live stream over in Australia, which I never am awake for. So it just worked out that he had Dean Harrison in the studio, and they were doing a live stream. So I watched that for a while and enjoyed that. But it was, the fever kind of came and broke all in the same night. So I mean, I've been, I think, pretty much fever free now. So. It's just, not that you care to hear about my health, ad nauseum, but just know that I would have been here if I could have been. I don't like missing these shows. I do love doing these shows. And, of course, I know that so many of you are always anxious to show up. And so when I can't do it, I feel like it's important, not only for me, but you guys have made it important for you. So I do apologize. I'm probably going to talk a little more subdued tonight because my voice is definitely weaker. And if I try to talk at my normal level, I'm going to burn my voice out in the first 45 minutes for sure. So I'm going to be a little more subdued tonight just because we got to make it through 2 hours. So we'll see how that goes. I got my libations next to me here and we'll see how it works. So anyway, we got a lot to get through tonight. As always, we're going to do the mail or the mail. Yeah, my fever's broke. I'm fine. The news, actually. We're going to do the news, and then we're going to do the Discord question of the week. Thank you, Chucky, for pulling that together again. And we'll go over that, and then we'll get to some articles and Cryptid Corner to wrap it all up. So I don't know about you guys, but I got a hankering for some paranormal, and by God, I'm going to try to deliver it. So here we go. Let's get to the news. But once again, I'm sorry for letting you guys down, but I'm thrilled that I can be here tonight. Just bear with me. This is still an experiment at best. So, but I definitely wanted to be here with you guys. The phone lines are open tonight too, by the way. So if you want to call in and be a part of the discussion, you sure can. So let's get to the news and find out just what I pulled up for you. I've got 4 articles tonight. It was last Saturday's. I forgot about. You forgot about something? Wizard? What? All right. Well, anyway, we're here now. One other thing. I did do a member stream on Tuesday, And I think I streamed all of 3 people, and that's okay. I mean, I'll stream to one person if one person shows up. But just so you know, I think I'm going to make that a regular thing for the YouTube members. Do a special member stream on Tuesday nights. So if you're a member of the channel, and I mean, look at the roster, most of you guys are. We can certainly hang out on Tuesday nights, and it's a little less formal. It's just a little more relaxed and laid back, and just kind of kicking back and chatting with you guys. So we can discuss some paranormal stuff too. But I do want some feedback from the members. Do you want me to keep it at the same time, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 10 p.m. Eastern Time, the same as every other night? Or do you want to see it at a later time, like 9 p.m. Pacific Time, and which would be like midnight Eastern? Just let me know what makes sense to you guys. I'm kind of thinking of just keeping it in line with all the other shows, so that you only have to remember one time for all of the times the live streams happen. But let me know. Weigh in on that if you will. All right. Without further ado, let's get to the news and find out just what I've pulled up for you. It's bound to be amazing. Here we go. Most trusted news, folks. Where's John? He always says it's the only one he's trusted at all. Is he in here? John, are you in here? All right. Well, if you're not, I'm just saying it for you. So anyway, let me pull up the camera so you guys can see me. Welcome to the Paranormal Portal News Desk. I'm your host and anchor, Brent Thomas, and I've got some news for you. I'm here. First news flash, breaking news, I'm here. I'm no longer absent. Next breaking news is 9 p.m. I'm out. Okay. So a lot of you guys are saying 7. Okay. Well, we'll stick with 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time then, and, see how that works. So just watch for it on Tuesdays. If you're a member of the channel, Tuesday member live stream, maybe an hour, might be an hour and a half, whatever we do. So we'll look into it. We'll do it again on Tuesday. Just because I want to keep giving you members something that brings value to being a member, other than having a green name and some emojis. So I hope that helps. I hope you guys I've gotten some good feedback, so thank you guys for that. I really don't have a formula for these member streams. I'm just thinking to be kind of just winging it. We'll just get together and hang out, talk. You got questions, I'll answer anything you guys want, as long as it's not too private. But yeah, we'll just have a good time. And last time I pulled out my guitar and played through some songs and dorked around. We talked about the music of the portal and things like that. And if you're a member, you can watch that live stream. It's posted on the roster of video on demand here on YouTube. So let's get to it. All but Paranormal Portal nights. I'm in bed at 8:30. Well, Karen, I'm glad you stay up for me. That makes me feel special. All right, so let's get to the first article in the news tonight. And this is, of course, from an amazing site that I've come to rely pretty heavily on here in the portal because I think it's amazing. And I hope you guys will support what they're doing over there. This is, of course, unexplained-mysteries.com. This site is incredible. They just do such a hell of a job. Really incredible, and it's current, up to date. And there's one person over there that works their ass off. And I don't know who this person is, but it's TK Randall. If it's one person or if it's just is TK like 2 people? I don't know, but every article is TK Randall. So the first article up in our news festival of fun here tonight on the portal is from unexplained-mysteries.com. Mysterious web-like strands are falling from the sky over California. What the hell? They got webs falling from the sky in California? I'm sure it's fine. I don't know about you guys, but I already get really uncomfortable when I look up and you see that spider web of cloud stuff up there. It's like, really? I don't ever remember this when I was a kid, but it looks like somebody's crocheting with clouds up there. It's like, really? That's not how they used to work. The clouds didn't work like that. And I'm not trying to be conspiratorial. I really don't know enough to have a real informed opinion about it, but it looks weird to me. And then when you hear that there's spider webs falling, I mean, God, I hope it's just spiders. As creepy as that sounds, that's kind of like a not great option B. But if there's spiders somehow up in the sky dropping webs, that's also creepy. But anyway, let's see what this says. It says, did I put it up? Yeah, I did. A peculiar natural phenomenon, they made sure to say natural, has been leaving California residents watching the skies this month. Local news outlets have this week been reporting on a rather unusual spectacle, thin web-like strands falling from empty skies over parts of the Golden State. In some cases, clumps of this material have even ended up littering roads and walkways. Oh my God. Yeah, sure. Have a deep morning air breath. While the phenomenon has left some people scratching their heads, it turns out that there is a conventional explanation for why this is happening. As long as it's not the chemtrails, that's good. These threads are, in fact, spiderwebs created by infant arachnids that are ballooning, an intriguing practice that involves creating little parachutes out of web that are carried on the wind. This helps the spiders to travel much longer distances than would otherwise be possible. After they hatch, baby spiders release strands of silk that get caught by the wind and carry them to new homes. It's like they're literally the spider stork, said biological sciences professor Dr. Frederick Larrabee of San Jose State University. That way they can find food, homes without competing with their siblings. Well, that's sweet. Still creepy as hell, but I don't know. As long as it's not a chemical, I guess that's good. All right. Well, there you go, sir. If you live in North California and you notice the strands of webbing coming down, it's just an army of invading little spiderlings ballooning over your house. That's not at all creepy. Okay. Well, anyway, they're little. They're tiny. And, well, I guess it's better than bunching up in one place. So there you go. That's first article tonight. I think it's creepy, but I do like spiders. I'm not one of those people like, oh, spiders, kill it with fire. I don't, that stuff, spiders doesn't bother me usually. I mean, I've never really had a nasty bite or something like some people. I think Nase actually had a nasty bite from a brown recluse or something like that. And he's dealt with an infection from that forever. And it's just horrible. But I've never experienced that, so I guess I don't have that, that deep hatred of spiders. I mean, some of them do look pretty creepy, but I'm the guy that grabs a cup and an envelope and, like, I'll trap them and then put them outside and stuff. But I figure they eat more of the gross stuff than they creep people out, so it's still a win. But anyway, that's it. Little paratrooping spiderlings. There you go. As if it couldn't get weirder, it got weirder. Let's see what else is weird in the news, because I've got 3 more articles to go over with you. The first one of the 3 is also coming from unexplained-mysteries.com. And this is kind of a cool one. It has to do with, that is creepy. Okay. It says, alleged sea monster shows up on Google Earth image of Antarctica. What? Yeah, you heard it right. An alleged sea monster shows up on Google Earth image of Antarctica. I guess that's it. I don't know. That's pretty freaking huge, whatever it is. I don't know. That's kind of disconcerting because whatever it is isn't really even fitting into the frame. Now, I don't know if this is just a Photoshop facsimile or what. It says, is this a real creature or something out of SpongeBob? Is it Squidward? Oh, no. Kind of looks like Squidward now that I look at it like that. Who lives in a pineapple under the sea. The creature, whatever it is, has sparked some heated debate online, with many dismissing the image as a hoax. Given how little we know about the depths of the ocean around Antarctica, well, anywhere for that matter, it's not unreasonable to assume that it is home to species of animal that we currently know nothing about. Whether this recent photograph is evidence of this, however, remains a matter of debate. The image, which appears to have been tagged to a location on Google Earth, shows a group of people, possibly researchers, in a boat off an island in Antarctica. As the image pans around, however, the image of a large creature can be clearly seen in the water. Oh, that's not at all spooky. While some users have hailed the picture as evidence of some sort of sea monster, what stands out straight away is the fact that the animal bears an uncanny resemblance to the Alaskan bullworm, a fictional creature found in episodes of the SpongeBob SquarePants cartoon. It certainly looks a little questionable, especially given the lack of any formal acknowledgement of the discovery from anyone in the boat, and the fact that it looks like it's been digitally added to the shot. You can check out the clip for yourself below. What do you think? Well, first I want to find out what the Alaskan bullworm looks like. Let's find out. Alaskan bullworm. Whoops. Let's go to images. Oh, yeah, that kind of does, actually. All right, I'm going to pull this over so you guys can see it as well. This is from Google. And I don't own any of these images, but I wanted you to see. There's the Alaskan bullworm. Yeah, I remember that now. Yeah, Sandy ties its tongue in a knot. I can remember that now that I think about it. Well, there you go. There's Alaskan bullworm. Creepy. Does that look like what we're looking at here? Well, I don't know. Not really. I've got 3 spirits around me. Well, I hope they bring healing, because I could sure use some energy for that matter. I don't know that those look like Alaskan bullworms, though. It looks kind of like a Squidward, really. Got the bulbous head and some weird, I don't know, maybe that's the nose, Squidward nose thing. I have no idea what I'm looking at here. Could be an old sail underwater for all I know. I mean, what do you make of that? Who knows? But anyway, I don't want to watch the TikTok just because I don't know who posted it. Is it Google? Who posted it? It's somebody's TikTok. I guess we can look at it just to see. Okay, we're gonna cover up the sound because I don't want to get copyright slapped or spanked by Google. But this is somebody's TikTok. It's Google the Curious TikTok channel. Okay, there's the researchers panning around, and for those, well, there it is. Yeah, I don't know. That looks pretty creepy. What the hell? Did the yo-ho all hands hoist the colors high. That's a creepy song all by itself. I don't know. What do you think? I don't know. It didn't look all that fake to me, but there's no disturbance on the water surface at all for this big mass being right under the surface. So is it not undulating at all? Is it just in the current somehow? Like a sail or something? I don't know. Because it doesn't seem to be causing any surface disturbance at all. So, I don't know. It's a curious one. Maybe it just sits idly and just kind of goes with the current until it finds stuff to eat. Like maybe a huge jellyfish kind of thing, you know? They aren't real aggressive swimmers. They just kind of follow the currents and eat whatever's there. So maybe this is some form of that, but the Antarctic version. You be the judge. I don't know. Hell, I don't know. But it's news to me. I never heard of it before. And if you haven't either, you're welcome. That's the spirit of the news. I don't always pretend that everything I'm bringing you is real incredibly newsworthy, but maybe you learned something. Maybe you learned something you didn't know before, and that's what this is all about, because knowledge is power. So I'm giving you power every show. Here's a new contest that's out, folks, and if you are one of the proud owners of a Ring doorbell, you could maybe be in the running for this. And I did see this a couple of places online today, so I guess but I don't see any problems coming up with this. There's no chance of people hoaxing this, I'm sure, because according to Ring, according to unexplained-mysteries.com, Ring launches contest offering $1 million for evidence of aliens. Well, what do they call evidence, though? That's the curious thing. What is it? What is evidence? So if you've got a flying saucer on your ring, is that evidence, or is that just evidence of a UFO and not of aliens? That's pretty hard to substantiate. The popular doorbell camera brand is offering a large cash sum to anyone who can capture evidence of extraterrestrials. The contest, which is being launched as part of the firm's Halloween celebrations, will run from now until November 3rd, and each entry will be required to provide scientific evidence of extraterrestrials in order to potentially qualify for the sizable $1 million prize. The competition is clearly intended to be tongue-in-cheek, meaning that the entries are likely to be awarded based more on entertainment value than anything else, but it will certainly be interesting to see the winning entry, if there is one. To be eligible to win the grand prize of $1 million as provided by the official rules, entrants must submit scientific evidence documenting an extraterrestrial before the end of the promotion period. Well, is visual evidence scientific? I mean, I would wager that it is. It may not be conclusive in and of itself, but it is scientific evidence. It is certainly not outside the realm of possibility for a Ring doorbell camera to pick up evidence of the unexplained. Over the years, we've seen footage from doorbell cameras purporting to show strange lights in the sky, spooky figures walking down the street, and mystery figures standing in gardens. In all likelihood, however, especially given that there will be a fair few aliens trick-or-treating this Halloween season, the chances of anyone submitting a winning contest entry isn't just a person in a costume are likely to be remote, to say the least. Well, yeah, I think so. But what the hell? I guess it's a good way to promote Ring, right? If you want a chance at the $1 million. I'm sure one of the caveats for that is that you have to have a Ring doorbell camera. So, honey, we're going to get that because we got aliens visiting all the time. Yeah, that's a good way to spike some sales, I think. I don't know. Some people are going to be like, yeah, for sure. I know there's aliens here. We can catch them. So, yeah, it's a good marketing ploy. But anyway, I'm pretty sure that the criteria for it being actual proof or evidence is going to be so steep that you'd have to produce a body. Probably have to produce a body. So you better, if you got one crashing in your front lawn and you manage to catch that on camera and you drag the body in and to Ring doorbell headquarters, maybe you get $1 million. Maybe. But maybe, I don't know. Do they then own the body? Ooh. Because that'd be worth way more than $1 million. Anyway, God bless them. It's some clever marketing. Gotta love clever marketing, folks. All right, here's the last article for the night. And this one is a little concerning. Okay, so here's the thing. Obviously, nuclear power has been around for a long, long time. There's nuclear ships. There's nuclear power plants. There's all kinds of different scale of nuclear energy production. But according to this new article, they apparently want to have some nuclear spaceships now, folks. Yeah, there you go. Wait till a launch goes bad on this one. All right, aerospace firm win contracts. Aerospace firms win contracts to develop nuclear-powered spacecraft. I can't see how that could go wrong. And the Air Force Research Laboratory has awarded a trio of contracts to major companies to advance small nuclear fission reactors. Manned missions to the moon are possible because it only takes a few days to get there. But if we're going to ever venture further afield to destinations such as Mars, a trip which takes over 7 months, we're going to need a form of transportation capable of reaching its destination a lot quicker than is currently viable via conventional rocket engines. Now, as part of a long-term effort to solve this problem, the Air Force Research Laboratory has awarded new contracts to Intuitive Machines, Lockheed Martin, Westinghouse Government Services to develop small nuclear fission reactors for use in future spacecraft. The move follows NASA's announcement earlier this year of plans to develop a nuclear-powered rocket to make sending humans to Mars a feasible possibility. Introduced by NASA Administrator Bill Nelson during a presentation in January, the endeavor aimed to develop and demonstrate advanced nuclear thermal propulsion, a revolutionary technology that would allow the United States to expand the possibilities for future human spaceflight missions. Described by Nelson as a major investment in getting to Mars, the new rocket could fly as soon as 2027 and could become an integral part of efforts to land humans on Mars in the 2030s. The fission reactors developed through the newly announced contracts, meanwhile, will eventually find their way into later stages of NASA's Artemis program, and then most likely to Mars as well. Whether or not a miniature nuclear fission reactors are a genuinely viable way to open up the solar system to manned space travel, however, remains to be seen. Interestingly enough, you notice that SpaceX was not on there, so I guess they're not letting Elon play in that sandbox, which is kind of creepy actually, because his company's been doing so many firsts as far as space travel. They made NASA look like a bunch of idiots. So I don't know. I guess they're still padding the government subcontractors for this. Oh, they won the contract, really? Oh, I would never saw that coming. The same people that are making the fighter jets and the ships and all this other advanced weaponry. Why not? Well, anyway, so be it. What do I know? I'm just an idiot with a microphone, so I don't know anything really. But I do know that this is the end of the news, so I hope you guys have enjoyed our news tonight and feel like you're a little better informed than you were. And if so, I've been doing my job, and by God, that's an amazing thing. So without any further delay, let's get back to the rest of the show and figure out what else I got on deck for you. Because I know I got some things on deck for you. So let's get back to it. Folks, it's now time to get back to the rest of the show. Welcome to the rest of the show. And I'm still your host. Still got a voice, so I guess I'm doing something right here. Hold on, I need a drink. I've got the water, but it's got these little vitamin squirts that you put in there. This one's Mio Energy. It's some kind of Tropical Fusion. I've got Tropical Fusion, but it's got a lot of A and B vitamins and stuff. So I've been really pounding the vitamins. I attribute that to my health or my resiliency in dealing with this. So I don't know. Replace shark with satellite. Rachel, what? Next thing, Musk will have sharks with lasers on their heads. Oh, why not? We should have sharks with lasers. Everybody should have sharks with lasers. All right, so I like meal. Yeah, I do too. I do too, audio. I mean, I think there's probably aspartame in these things, and I'm not real big on eating that, but I get so tired of water, just water, because I drink a ton of water every day. And sometimes the flavor of water is just like, I just can't palate another bland bottle full. So I get these Mio things. I don't use them a bunch, but I do from time to time. And it's a nice little pick-me-up. So, and I figure it's got vitamins, so it's a win-win, right? Okay, we are going to get to the next segment of the show, which is one that I've enjoyed and it's been, I think, largely successful. Although lately there's been less participation than usually. But that just may be because of the time of year. I don't know for sure. But we're going to head to the Discord question of the week, folks, where we're going to get to the question of the week of this week and find out just what's going on. What did Chucky ask? And what did you guys say? And I will tell you that I did paste a link in the top of the chat on YouTube if you want to join the Discord. Love to have you over there. But if you're only listening and you're not able to see the YouTube chat, then I will tell you that the link to join our Discord is https://discord.gg/paranormal portal. So if you can find that, you can go to that link. And if you have Discord, if you don't have an account, I guess it'll probably ask you to make one, but just make an account and then click that link and make an account, and you'll be in to a screen looking much like this. And this is where the magic happens, because this is the Discord question of the week. All right, welcome to the Discord question of the week, folks. And once you join our Discord, it's going to look just like this. In fact, this is the general tab that you'll join on. And when you join, it'll give us all a message and it'll say, oh, say hi to blah, 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 who just joined the Discord. And so you'll get people saying hi to you like crazy. And then we have all these discussion threads over here on the left that you can see. And I know Chucky just posted one from a YouTube, which is right here. No one will save you. Wait, no. Sir No Face. This one's coming out of Australia. He was just talking to me about it. Now, fair warning, there's language not suitable for children. But Chucky says it's real good. I'm going to check it out soon, too. The Unknown has some links in here. And but there's all kinds of discussion threads. There's the general episode discussions. If you want to talk about something that we've talked about on an episode, this is where you'll do it. There's Bigfoot, Dogman, ghosts, UFOs, extraterrestrial encounters, cryptids, even music. There's music in here too. Can you believe it? Ooh, that one looks good. Shamanic drumming and deep Viking chants. Very cool. That was by Maggie, I think. Very cool, Maggie. Thank you. Again, my Discord screws up and I get one initial and 3 dots. I don't know why. Strange Phenomena is another thread. The Paranormal Library, dealing with books. And people post books that they've read that they feel you might enjoy. Then there's the movies. There's also voice channels, but I've never seen these used. I tested them out once with the Unknown. It worked good. So they are available if you guys want to just chat instead of type. It's up to you. It's there if you want to use it. But what we're looking for right now is the Discord question of the week, which is right here. Okay. And once again, special thanks to Chucky for putting this together. He's been spearheading the mission for the Discord question of the week. And tonight's question is no exception. He said, question of the week, if you could officially discover and understand all about one specific cryptid, which one would you choose and why? First coming up is Eric Purple Hobbit says Puckwudgies, because they get so little mention because old Sasquatch got to hog up the spotlight. Yeah, Puckwudgies and other little people I think are fascinating. Those stories, they come up from time to time. And even from very credible witnesses, people witnessing these little diminutive people. And they're not like dwarfs, like human dwarfs or midgets or anything like that. I realize it's not a popular term anymore, but you understand what I'm saying. I'm just saying it because I'm tired and not very creative right now. So you're going to get language that I can actually think of to spit out of my mouth. But these are something else. They're like proto-pygmies. Robin Moonshadow is a friend of the show. She's a researcher in proto-pygmies as well as Bigfoot. And she's uncovered quite a bit of research and information about them. And she's been on the show a few times talking about the proto-pygmies and such. But it includes gnomes, Puckwudgies, duendes, and so many more. So there's just some fascinating histories. And the Cherokee had legendary stories of the little people that were two types of little people that I'm aware of. One was benevolent and helpful, but they look kind of like bug people. They look like these little purple beings with like bug eyes. But then the ones that look like little garden dwarves, like garden gnomes like we have, those were the bastards, according to the Cherokee, as far as I understand it. So now there are red caps. Robin has talked about red cap gnomes, and they are little bastards, apparently. They don't like people very much. And who knows why? I mean, it could be any number of reasons. I suspect it's a lot of, hey, what's that? I don't know, let's shoot it. There's probably a lot of that in our history, and it's a little sad, quite honestly, that's where we start at sometimes. But maybe they got shot at a bunch, and they just decided that we're not really good neighbors. So maybe that's why they hate us. It could be. I can imagine not liking my neighbors if they were plugging shots at me. But there's others too, little Native Americans, little mini Native Americans that look just like the regular sized Native Americans, but they are also some legendary tribes around. Who knows? They're out there though. So that's what Pukwudgies though. They did get kind of a bad rap though, but I don't know if you can subscribe completely to the First Nations legends of the Pukwudgies. They were jealous of people because the giants that were basically the lords of the land liked people better than the Pukwudgies. And Pukwudgies tried to get people like them too, but they kind of screwed things up, and people just felt they were horrible and wanted them to stay away, and created all this conflict. And then there was a whole bunch of ado with a specific giant chieftain attacking the Pukwudgies and scattering them to the wind. And then they came back and murdered the chief, and I don't know, just a whole bunch of problems. So they kind of hate people. But yeah, Pukwudgies are interesting. Cryptic Chaos. Just Info Arsonist says, if fairies are considered cryptids, I go hunting and have seen mushroom circles attributed to fairy circles. Yeah, I've got mushroom circles in my yard, Just Info. And I eat those mushrooms. They're good. And I walk in that thing all the time because I got to mow it. I mean, what am I going to do? Not mow my yard? It's literally about a 50-foot circle. Now, it started out smaller, but they get bigger every year. But it's basically just a fungal colony. And yeah, they're delicious. Saute them in butter. They're awesome. Not that I'm giving you advice to go out and eat certain mushrooms. You got to do your research. But if you find the same ones I'm eating, they're good. Cryptic Chaos says, I don't know if they count, but Phoenix or Thunderbird. I mean, how cool would that be? Using all your knowledge to understand them and be able to befriend or tame one. That's the ultimate adventure. Something straight out of a movie. Yeah, that'd be crazy. I mean, my God, if you were able to befriend any of these cryptids, I think that would be phenomenal. I think that's fascinating. I don't know who this is. Somebody help me out here. This is just the P with the 3 dots. I don't have a name. So somebody in the chat, can you tell me who this is? Because I'm so disgusted with my Discord, but it does this. Who is P ... Looks like a green, I don't know, almost a jack-o'-lantern face on black circle. Anyone? Pineapple Tango. Thank you, Android. Appreciate it. All right. Pineapple Tango. Dogmen. I'm all about the werewolf. When I was younger in school, my friends and I would write stories and make art about all kinds of creatures, but my favorites were always the werewolves and really any were creature. But here's the thing. We could all share our knowledge. Sure. We could gatekeep what we learn, which a lot of people might do, but we are stronger as a knowledgeable team than alone. So let's be a team. Yeah, that'd be awesome. I mean, so what if you could talk to a Sasquatch? And what if you could talk to a dog man and, get to know what they know of the history and about the world around them? What could they teach us? I think it's an amazing possibility that they know a hell of a lot more about the raw nature of our reality than we do. Chasing Mound Builders comes in next, says, I don't know if it's just what's classified as cryptids, but if I could pick a monster, it would be vamps. Hard to know why they keep themselves so well hidden and how they survive in today's world. Yeah, I think the topic of vampires to me is fascinating because it's based on something. And I have interviewed a witness who had 2 run-ins, once as a small child and once as an adult of running into what he can only conclude was a vampire. And that is on the podcast. If you want to listen to it, it's actually one of my favorite episodes I've ever recorded on the podcast because it was such a unique story. And it's one that I've often wondered about, but I don't get witnesses coming forward about it. So either they're exceptionally rare or they just, people just don't talk about it much. And maybe it's a little both, but in any case, yeah, very crazy. All right. But yeah, I think knowing their story would be interesting as well. Raw MMJ says, which cryptids would I like to know about? I'd like to know about everything about all the UFOs. The design, how old, who designed it, who built it, where, who flew it, and what events occur or arise frequently while flying around, and all that kind of info. Yeah, I don't know if it's necessarily cryptid, but that is an interesting take. Maybe some of the cryptids we observe are extraterrestrials. I mean, that's certainly a possibility. And what could they teach us? Well, if they've mastered interstellar or interdimensional travel, then they could teach us a hell of a lot. Probably solve 99% of our current crises surrounding our populations and keeping things running. So the answers would probably be incredibly helpful, but so far they're not volunteering that information. EM says, the hairy man, a.k.a. Bigfoot. I'm Australian. Wait, I'm Australian. We know so little about them, yet there have been so many sightings from all over the world for so long. They show intellect and strong family bonds, as well as a spiritual, supernatural, interdimensional aspects. Highly divisive opinion, I know. They are also the absolute bushmasters and have great connection to and understanding of nature and the earth. It would be fascinating to know more. Yeah, it really would. I think our ancestors knew maybe them or at least a lot more about the nature of the world around us, and our passion and devotion to sciences has pulled us away from a lot of the knowledge that was probably ingrained in us for millennia. But I agree. If you could talk to them, that would be amazing. Moni G says, Bigfoot, because I've had some experiences, tree knocked structures, been yelled at. Never seen it. Also, it seemed very close. Of course, like everybody else, I'd like to know what, who, and they are, and where they're coming from. Yeah, that'd be fantastic. That really would be neat. Ash Hermit says, I can't decide. That's a tough question. I'll give you that. It's tough to choose one. Chucky weighs in on the question, says, I think if I personally were to pick one and know everything about it, I'd choose the giants. The connections that come up with pretty well every civilization could tell us so much about our ancient history. So much could be gleaned from this knowledge. Yeah, it's pretty fascinating. And if we're the ancient Anunnaki, the giants of our legends, or some offshoot of them, did they become the giants? And if so, then they would have an advanced understanding of the world, because Anunnaki are essentially extraterrestrial, right? So Arc Blaster's coming in next. Aliens, if I could understand them, perhaps they'd give me some of their technology. I'd terraform a planet with slightly stronger gravity than Earth and bar the elite from visiting. Wonder why there's slightly stronger gravity. Is it because you'd be stronger then? Or I think what would happen if you had slightly stronger gravity is our bodies would wear out quicker. But because I'm telling you, I'm pretty sure gravity's gotten stronger as I've gotten older. I think it's changing, but I might just be me. Maggie comes in. I choose the thylacine or Tassie tiger. It'd put an end to the debate of whether they are or at least a branch of the species wherever on mainland Australia. I'd love to know exactly what people are seeing or reporting on the mainland. I believe the reports and videos, photos warrant further investigation, not outright dismissal with short-sighted response of the sightings being other known animals. I think most people would know they are not seeing a fox, etc. In my humble opinion, it could even be a brand new species altogether. We won't know until it's taken seriously and looked into sincerely, and I feel that is a great shame. Yeah. I think they're still out there personally. I mean, What do I base that on? Well, just some anecdotal evidence, but I mean, Australia is huge and it's not very populated. So is it hard to believe that there would be Tassie tigers over there? No, not to me. I think that's very possible. I think this is Barbara Mora. More of this, more of that. Well, I'm Bigfoot's biggest fan in my town, so I'd want to find it, them, her. I think coming across a young female would be a good starter experience, not too aggressive, and curious enough to stay and watch each other, and hopefully even-tempered. After the initial shock of what I'm seeing, I would, without approaching, roll her an apple and that grow everywhere in my town as a token of friendship. And pray, did I say pray, that she would accept and not attack or run. Then I would leave the beastie to her eating her apple and hope we meet again someday. That is in my perfect world. Hopefully, maybe someday. Yeah, I think it's possible. I think it is. Shepherdess Mel's says, I have to agree. Other cryptids I am fascinated by and I enjoy their mystery, but aliens, if we can put them in this category for now, sorry I'm not convinced yet on the Mexican ordeal, are downright confusing to me. Would be just nice to know what exactly these are. Yeah, it would. And honestly, if we could absolutely befriend an alien species or an alien technologies or whatever, if we could befriend them and they could help us, I think we could feed and clothe every person on the world. We can provide shelter, medicine, everything could be with that advanced technologies. I mean, it would reshape the human condition. It really would. We could, minimize or maybe remove entirely the burden of our existence on the natural resources around us, and hopefully develop in unison with the world around us. So yeah, I mean, honestly, I would have to say that if we put aliens in this, yeah, they stand to teach us the most, I think. But then again, I'd love to talk to all of them. I really would. Rachel comes in next, says, my choice would be a Bigfoot. There's definitely wisdom of a spiritual nature to be learned by being immersed in their world. Also, cultural knowledge. Environmental awareness may become priority for our society. We could ask them if they have any stories about other forest cryptids, such as the Little People in Dogben. They may have historical stories about First Nations people that modern culture has forgotten. Yeah, that'd be cool. I mean, it'd be neat if they had a long memory of such things and shared those stories culturally within their ranks. That'd be great. Android comes in next, says probably Sasquatch Bigfoot for the following reasons. 1, it's the most commonly reported cryptid. Number 2, it's a humanoid-shaped being, which means they would likely share the most in common with us. Number 3, the history of where they came from might also help to answer where we humans come from or answer more about the universe. And number 4, if they are biological, we can help save their endangered population. 5, if they're interdimensional, maybe they can teach us how to do that too. Yeah, that'd be cool. I mean, although you got to wonder, what is the other dimensions like? What if they absolutely suck and that's the reason they come here? It's like, maybe their home dimension sucks. Maybe it's like a wasteland of some kind and they just pop over here to grab a bite to eat. I don't know. What do I know? But I mean, if we could learn to traverse one dimension, maybe we could learn to traverse many of them. I don't know. It's kind of scary as reckless as people are. And I don't mean to belittle our achievements and our growth and our contributions to our societies and how we've developed, because we've come an amazing great distance. But I do wonder, could we do that in a responsible way? If we suddenly could unlock dimensional gateways, would you trust that it would be used for altruism, or would it be used to glean more power and more control and command of other technologies and God only knows what else? And that's my fear, is that, by and large, I think most people are really wonderful. I really do. I think most people really are. But there's a lot of screwed up people in this world, and unfortunately, they seem to be running things, and that terrifies me. If they were to have the keys to the kingdom, so to speak, I don't think we would be in that club. We would be pushed down the food chain quite a bit, I think, which is terrifying. But just, I don't know. I don't know what to trust anymore, to be honest with you. I think that's one of the biggest fatalities of our modern age is truth, because it's all spins. It's all angles and propaganda all over the place. It's not just one way, one side. It's just like everywhere. And it's driving me mad, because I would love to know what the truth is anymore, but I don't know what that looks like anymore. And I don't think most of us do. So that's the tragedy of our modern day. But anyway, great feedback, guys. Thank you so much. That was the end of it. Thank you, Android. Good to see you, brother. We've missed you, but glad to see you back. Yeah, it's really fantastic. I appreciate your feedback and some great ideas, folks. This has been the Discord question of the week. Love to have you join. So remember, follow the link in the chat. Thank you, Android. Try some poppy soda. It's actually healthy too. I never heard of it. Poppy. I'm not sure where to find that, but it sounds good. I was just thinking tonight, I was like, God, I could use a Coke. I love the way it's, got a little bite to it. My water never has a bite to it. But anyway, thank you everybody for your participation in the Discord question of the week. Boom. All right. Well, there you go. We're making tracks, folks. We're making tracks through the night. Paranormal Portal, look it up on Amazon. It's made with apple cider vinegar, and they have a cola flavor one and a root beer flavor too. Well, that looks awesome. I'm going to write that down. Where's my pen? Poppi? Okay. Poppy soda. Poppi. Okay. Oh, I better write soda, because I'm going to look at it later and go, what the hell is Poppy? I don't remember. All right. I will look it up. Why not? I'm always for trying new things. I wish Coca-Cola was good for me, but I know it's not. I know it's not. But anyway. All right. Canada Dry Ginger Ale. Yeah, that would be awesome too. It's not just because you're Canadian, right, Rachel? Just saying. You seem to be a little eager to push the Canadian stuff. No, I'm just kidding. I do love ginger ale. I wish I had one right now. It just seems to make everything smoother once you've got a soda of some kind. But anyway. All right, let's see. Let me close this. What is that popped open for? All right, let's get back to the rest of what we're doing tonight. We've got a lot more on the board, of course. So how do we do that? We got 116 views. What the hell's going on? Oh, wait, that's why. There we go. All right, I was moved over a little bit. Okay, so we're going to get to some article that we were working through, and maybe we'll finish it up tonight. It's been one we've been going through for, I think just one other night so far, but it's from ranker.com. And this article is Shadow People Encounters. It's by Amanda Ashley or Ashley Amanda. I don't remember how the name goes. Let me scroll up and see. Let's see, who was it by again? Ashley Amanda? Amanda Ashley. Okay. Amanda Ashley. So it was in the right order. Okay, we're on number 6. All right. So we're going to go through this article again. It's from ranker.com. Amanda Ashley is the author, and this is a Reddit scrape article again. I love these Reddit articles because there's a lot of great stories just packaged in these articles, but there's dozens of them in a lot of cases. I don't think this one is that big at all, but it's going to be, we've had a few good stories dealing with shadow people. And again, shadow people, by and large, people usually consider shadow people a very negative thing. And I would just like to remind everyone, remind everyone what Don had found years ago on the show. And he was listening to Coast, a gentleman who's being trained as a shaman with a Native American tribe, said, well, in his training, shadow people are not negative. In fact, they're very utilitarian. And he went on to explain how shadow people are lured to places where there's a high amount of negative energy, and they feed on that. But to do so, They are essentially cleansing the space. They are removing the negative energy. So they are, in fact, benevolent. So I don't know. You be the judge. I mean, we're kind of dealing with a lot of huge unknowns, but that's at least one take from a very traditional wisdom. And I don't think it should be discounted. I mean, that's pretty great, actually. If they're there removing negative energy and removing that from our space. Vitamins. Anybody seen Portal Mom tonight? I don't know if she knew I had a show tonight or not. I haven't seen her. Is Portal Mom here? Just wondering. All right, so we're going to get to that article. Brent, my man. Hey, David. How you doing, brother? You thought you missed last night's show. I saw you comment like, oh, I missed it. But no, that was from a week ago. Yeah. So you didn't miss anything. I was not seeing her. Okay. Haven't seen her. I wonder, she thought maybe I was taking the night off again. Because I've been texting her saying, oh, Mom, no show tonight. I'm going to message her now, say, doing a show now. Because it's a show now. Where are you? She usually is kind of my co-pilot as well on these when I have nobody co-hosting with me. She helps me keep an eye on things like super chats and stuff. She'll message me. Oh, so-and-so gave this. So-and-so gave that. So it's very nice. Portal Mom, we summon you. Yep, let's summon Portal Mom. All right. See if she comes on. She might just be falling asleep too. I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't have bothered her. Yeah, she probably did. She probably did, Wizard Moon. She probably thought, there's no show. He's been sick. He's probably taking another night. And I did. I was teetering really carefully. Like, can I do a night? Can I do a show? But I had to. Love Rocks Company. How you doing? Good to see you. Love Rocks Company. I'm wearing your necklace right now. Always, actually. I've always got this on. This is a necklace by Love Rocks Company. And you can find more about Love Rocks Company in the Discord under the miscellaneous. There's Portal Mom. Oh, all right. Well, you almost got sent to the office, but glad you're here. So you can find out more about Love Rocks Company in the Discord. She makes custom jewelry and stuff for sale. And if any of you in our Discord are actually creating things and would like to offer it to our community, please post it in the Portal Marketplace there on the Discord. You're welcome to post anything you want as long as it's not inappropriate. I don't want like monogrammed adult toys or anything in there. So just saying, not those, but yeah. So, but anything else within reason. All right. Let's get to the article here and find out just what's going on. Because there's always something going on here in the portal. Oops. Can tell I missed a few shows. Well, no, I can't even blame that, really. All right. Poor Mom 3 times and she showed up. Yeah, it's like summoned her. Very good. Good to see you, Mom. Oh, there's John Temprin. How you doing, John? All right. So the first one is number 6. The unknown figure caused a bone-chilling cold at their feet. This is from Redditor international_big_25. It says, when I was around 10 or 11, I was up late one night reading a Harry Potter book. I was lying in my bed with only my lamp on and my window behind me. I was on the 2nd floor. Next thing you know, I feel a chilling cold at my feet, almost from the inside out. I look up across my back wall to only see a shadow. He was rather tall and facing me. It stayed for a brief second before turning and disappearing into the wall closest to my feet. I never felt such fear in my life, and I was wide awake. Yeah, that'll wake you up even more. Good luck falling asleep. There's so many stories that it just stuns me because people be scared to tears by the most horrifying sight. And then they'll be like, I stood there under the blanket till I finally fell asleep. It's like, how do you fall asleep? How do you fall asleep? And it's the people like, they see a figure come into the room, so they pull the covers up. It's like, don't you want to know where they're going, what they're doing? I wouldn't want to just sit there and wait for something. Just like, oh no, don't touch me, don't touch me. I mean, I'd want to be watching and just like, hey. I don't know. Maybe it is better not to see. I don't know. I've not had that experience, but I just think, jeez. All right, number 7. A frightening shadow figure made the dogs bark wildly. And this is by it's Alira Burgess, I guess. Alira Burgess is the Redditor name. My first and only experience happened in 2008 in Sorrel, Tasmania. My stepsister and I were out walking our 2 dogs around to the back paddock behind the houses in the street. It's Nash Street. And we were walking down the dirt road with a graveyard next to it and a small forest with tall trees. This is during the day. We saw a black figure just hovering, and the dog started barking. He was tall, and it looked as if it had a black cloth over it. It started moving towards us, and we just ran, nearly falling over. An experience I will never forget. We thought we were crazy, but only this year, now 20 years old, I found out what that figure was and actually do believe they exist now. Can't shake the feeling. I don't know what they is, though. What is, I mean, you found out what they are. Well, what are they? Why wouldn't you include that? Yeah. Anyway, that's their story. Number 8, the whole family had a strange experiences in their apartment. This is by do_significance_706. I lived in an apartment where I saw a shadow person twice. Once directly, I looked at it from 2 feet away in broad daylight, in a very bright and sunny setting. What's weird is the fact that I'm a wuss. I'm 33 and I still run past dark rooms in the hallway. But I was just sitting there on the patio, and for whatever reason, I looked over my shoulder behind me, and it was right up against the sliding door, looking out at me, right next to me, and I just sat there and blinked. There's no way he didn't somehow instill that sense of calm into me. He was leaning to his right, holding the vertical blinds, so only his head, shoulder, and hands were visible. And when I looked, he ran and left the blinds swinging for a long time. But the sheer black is eerie. Never have I seen a true black before or since. He was like a black hole. My husband at the time, apparently not still, saw it twice peripherally too. While we lived there, my son would wake up screaming and crying, saying there was a very large dog that scared him. This happened many times, and he said it was very big and dark brown. After we moved, we never saw the shadow person, and my son never woke up screaming again. Well, that's good. I'm glad it didn't follow you. Yeesh. All right, number 9. Maybe we'll only get to a few of these, I guess. They've encountered shadow people and shadow animals over the years. This is by Redditor Ginger_Shark21. In my life, I've had 3 experiences with shadow people. Back as a small child, I called them ghosts since I didn't know what else to call them. First experience, I was 4 years old. I couldn't sleep one night and went into my parents' room and crawled into their bed. I was definitely not asleep and hadn't been there for long when I saw something. A shadow person and dog entered the room through the wall. The dog put its paws up on my mom's side of the bed. The person walked around the room. The person then gestured to the dog, and they left through the closet door or the closed door. I told my parents the next morning, and they didn't believe me. Second experience, I was in my mid-20s. Didn't see a person this time, but saw a shadow cat. My boyfriend at the time also saw the cat. It wasn't our black cat because she was asleep in the other room. We even made sure afterwards, but we both saw this shadow cat walk across the room and then disappear. Maybe your cat was astral projecting. Just saying, it could be. Third experience, I was in my late 20s and I was in a different apartment and alone for this one. I was asleep and a feeling woke me up. I looked over at the doorway and there was a shadow person standing there. This was the one time I was super afraid of a shadow entity. At first, I thought maybe someone had broken in. I tried to act like I was still asleep, hoping they would go away. I had a horrible feeling for a long time, and then the feeling just went away. I looked around the apartment and checked my door. The door was still locked, and no one had been there. I definitely saw someone standing in the entryway to my bedroom. That's horrible. That's absolutely horrible. Yikes. We'll read this one and then we'll get on to the cryptid corner. Number 10, they heard mysterious footsteps at their grandparents' house. This is from Dazzling Economist 35. When I was 6 or 7, I was staying at my grandparents' house while my parents were out. My brother and I were in the same room. We got tucked in and I fell asleep. I woke up at around 4 a.m. and I remember hearing footsteps coming up my stairs, and I didn't recognize them as my grandparents. And then I heard the baby gate open and the footsteps stopped. About 2 minutes later, they continued, and I could tell they were coming towards my room, so I hopped into my brother's bed because I was scared as hell. Then the shadow man walked into my room, and I remember him just staring at me. He walked closer to our bed, but just stopped and watched me. I pretended as if I was asleep and he just stayed there. I ended up falling asleep, and then when I woke up, I went and told my grandparents, and they didn't believe me. That day I went to school and told my friend, and he had no clue what I was talking about. Every time I slept there, it happened unless I barricaded the door. Even then, I could still see him in the cracks. I only saw him once in my parents' house when I was 10, and I tried throwing something at him, and he just walked away and ignored it. I haven't seen him since. Again, these aren't really negative experiences. None of these are horrifying experiences other than there's a presence there, but it just looks like they're curious for the most part, right? But maybe there is merit to that in, this First Nation idea that shadow people are benevolent. They are just helping to remove negative energies. So if that's the case, maybe we shouldn't be so quick to cast them out or want them to leave our spaces. Now, I'm not saying they're all that way. I mean, I don't know that we're always dealing with the same thing. Just because a spirit looks dark and shadowy doesn't mean it's a shadow person. Could be any number of spirits that's just appearing dark. And again, we got that old cowboy mentality. It's like the white hats are the good guys, the black hats are the bad guys. Well, that was good in old movies, but it's not real. That's not a real indicator of who the good guys are and who the bad guys are. So you be the judge, but I don't know. So that was that article. I hope you guys enjoyed it, or at least a few more discussions about shadow people. I think they're pretty interesting. But what do I know? I'm just the host. Just the host with the most. Okay. All right. So we are going to get to just checking everything. Make sure I'm not missing nothing. Okay. We're going to get to some cryptid corner here. And let me look at the time. Yeah, it's about 8. So we'll get about an hour in the cryptid corner here. And that'll be the journey. Sometimes I feel like it's sometimes merging or overlapping into hours. I don't know what you're talking about. It sounds interesting, though. Oh, Jarla, let me do some shout outs here because I'm seeing new names and I'm not familiar with them. So if you want a shout out, say something in the chat because that'll populate my list. If you're out there watching and you're just sitting quietly and you're like, hey, would it be neat if you said my name? Well, then type a hello in the chat and that'll put you on my list so I can say hello. Otherwise, just kick back and relax and we'll get through this in a moment. So moving to the shout outs, let's get to it. The list is quite small, but it's growing. More people are saying something. So far, we have Android Paranormal's here. Good to see Android. Chucky Danger's up in here. Jem Gwyn. Birdie Cuda just popped in. James Fedke is here. Good to see you, James. James was here. Someone else is here, but they popped out. Just Info Arsonist is here. John Temperlin is here. Or Tempering, sorry. David Barnes is here. Good to see you, David. Karen Alberding is here. Love Rocks Company's here. More of this, more of that is here. Mr. Golden V is here. How you doing, Mr. Goldenby? That's a new name. I don't recognize that name, but it's nice to meet you. Portal Mom is my mom, of course. RJ Windwalker's here. Rachel gets it right. Rick Wergerson. Ruthie is here. Wizard Moon's here. And Killing Reality's here. Who else popped in? Egyptian Princess. We got an Egyptian Princess. Fantastic to meet you. Thanks for coming in. And I'm sorry if I'm missing anyone else. I'm looking. Colleen Bauman just came in. Good to see you, Colleen. Thank you for coming in. And I'm looking. One more scan here, and then we'll move on. Looks like that's it. Good job, guys. Great to have you here. Thank you so much. Oops, that's what I want right there. Okay, good. All right, so that was the shout-outs. Okay, now we're going to get to the Cryptid Corner, and for this segment, it's going to go through both some Sasquatch Chronicles and some Phantoms and Monsters. Lon Strickler's site as well, so going to hit two of the big dogs tonight, folks. I've got to wet my whistle. Yep. It is wet. As is my lip where I splattered. All right. Let's do this. Going to get to Sasquatch Chronicles blog first. We're going to stop in here. Special thanks to Mr. Wes Germer for letting us use this for some of the fodder for the show. That's awesome. And if you haven't checked out the Sasquatch Chronicles blog, definitely do that. You know the podcast, but do you know the blog? Because there's so much more stuff over on the blog than just the podcast alone. So let's get to the first one. This one's from September 25th. I saw what I thought was a bear. A listener writes, I'm showing my age a little bit here as I was based there for a short time in 1987 when I was 18 years old. My encounter is a little bit different as I am British, and at the time I was part of a British army serving in the 1st Battalion of the Worcester Sherwood Forests, which at the time was an infantry battalion based in Oakington Barracks near Cambridge in the UK. Our main role as a regiment at that time was home defense, and we were used in various tasks both home and abroad. I was a private soldier having only completed my basic training, about 18 months beforehand, before being sent to my regiment. My regiment was made up of 4 companies, A, B, C, and HQ companies. Each company was made up of 3 platoons and 2 sections of men in each company. A company at the beginning of 1987 was chosen to be deployed on a joint exercise called Exercise Trumpet Dance to Fort Lewis to work with the U.S. Rangers, much to the envy of the rest of the regiment. I remember the exact date we flew out from RAF Breeze Norton on an RAF VC-10. It was 1st of February 1987, and it was my 18th birthday, which I spent all day flying across to Seattle in the States. We refueled on the way to RAF Grander in Canada. What a way to spend your 18th birthday stuck on a slow, boring aircraft. Upon landing, we were loaded into coaches and driven to our barracks for the duration of our stay at Fort Lewis. We had a couple of days to settle, into which for us meant being ran around Fort Lewis by our company commander, a major who loved to have us out running daily. I think he was keen to make a good impression. So our primary role was to see how the Americans worked in the field, and we were chosen to play the enemy. We were treated really well, and being in the British Army, we could not believe how much kit you Americans have. The number of resources was unbelievable to us. So many choppers, vehicles, and the standard of accommodations was like a 5-star hotel compared to where we were used to back home. During our 5-week stay in the first couple of weeks consisted of being choppered out to various RV points where we'd split up into small section groups, and we would cause havoc with our supply lines, ambushing the Ranger units with pyrotechnics whilst they were trying to move large equipment around. For us, it was great fun, as we had helicopters on the standby to pick us up whenever we wanted to fly us wherever we wanted. Obviously, the whole theater was not live fire, and our weapons were only permitted to fire blank rounds, and it was the same for the Rangers. The second couple of weeks, we did quite a few live fire exercises, making full use of the many ranges situated at the Fort Lewis base. You have to see this from an 18-year-old British Army squattie's point of view. We were in Army heaven. We had unlimited resources available to us, and nothing was off limits to us Brits. We were having a great time. The last 2 weeks we found ourselves being deployed on a tactical exercise. My memory is a little bit rusty as we're taken 35 years ago now, but I remember we were bussed out on a couple of Chinooks to a remote forest area. I couldn't tell you where it was, but it must have been somewhere within the vast area that Fort Lewis covers. Our role at this point was to observe enemy movements with patrols in and out of the forest area and report back what we saw. The primary objective was not to be seen and report back to HQ what we saw, staying in complete incognito. Throughout the exercise, we were fully tactical, which meant no fires, and we lived off of our ration packs, which were awful to eat. We could not cook anything, and everything was to be eaten cold. It was a pretty miserable few days. The weather at this time was really cold. February in Washington State, as we found out, was freezing cold, and any downtime we had, we spent huddled up in our sleeping bags trying to keep warm. On the ground, the company was in the forest in an equal-side triangle formation, which is a standard setup for British Army infantry company in a tactical scenario. One platoon, which I was in at the top of the triangle, and platoons 2 and 3 covered the 4 and 8 o'clock points. I hope that makes sense. As we knew we would be there for a few days, we were paired up, and we dug out foxholes and lived under what we called the basher. A basher was a waterproof sheet and acted like a tent attached with bungee cords, which were then attached to trees and branches. It was basic, but it kept you dry. Each platoon had a lookout point, which we called the stag point. Each pair of soldiers took it in turns to stag on and just guard for any incoming enemy patrols. If we were compromised, we would open fire and everyone knew where the emergency RV point was. In theory, we would regroup and either make a tactical retreat or stand and fight. Obviously, for the point of this exercise would not be ambushed, but it was a tactical exercise, so we all played along as per standard procedures. Our positions were marked by a command cord. A long line of paracord was run along the positions and marked by pieces of cloth tied at various points to signify where people were. It seems very basic and crude, but during the night you needed this to navigate around by feeling where you were and to get to the stag point in total darkness. At that time of the year, it got really dark early, so you knew what time you were going to be on stag, so you literally got in your sleeping bag and tried to keep warm until it was your turn to stag on. I remember waking up the first night absolutely shattered, having been shivering most of the night. I unzipped my sleeping bag and put my head out from under the basher and saw a huge moose about 20 feet away just staring at me. It casually just walked off, and I remember thinking, that was a bit bizarre. We'd been told there were bears in the area, but most would be hibernating at that time of year, and we'd been warned about big cats, but to be honest, we did not take anything too serious, as we knew we would let out a few rounds off, albeit blanks, and they would just run off. We had a ranger officer deployed with us, and he had reassured us there was little or no danger, so we took that one to the bank. On the second night, things got a bit weird. We'd been out in the cold for a few days now, and we're feeling it. One of the most debilitating factors of being tactical on exercise is the lack of sleep. In the daytime, we were out on patrol, and we were burning a lot of calories, and by the time you got back to our foxholes, we were shattered. As I've mentioned, it was freezing cold, and your teeth were constantly chattering, and getting to sleep was not easy. Me and my mate had been chosen for what we called down stag. At about 4:50 a.m., we both received a sharp kick to let us know it was our turn for a couple hours on watch duty. Once one of the guys who was on stag at that point had walked over to let us know, and we reluctantly got out of our sleeping bags and put on our jackets. That is the worst thing ever, was the cold really hits you at that point. We got into position, having felt our way to the stag point. It had been set up so we were at the edge of the forest, and we had view of two converging tracks running down to where we were. In the daytime, we had used the tracks ourselves to get back to our positions. Tactically, it was a really good point to have, but at 5 a.m, you could not see your hand in front of you. It was that dark. We heard the two lads making their way back to the foxholes, and once the noise of them getting to their sleeping bags was done, it was silent. Really silent. I remember the guy I was with was really suffering with a heavy cold, and he was constantly coughing and sniffling, which was not a great position to be in, and I knew if any of the platoon higher command heard him, he'd be in big trouble. I suggested he try band, get his head down for a bit, and I would keep watch. Being a typical squatty, he did not need a second invitation. The stag point had been covered with what we call a scrim net. One of the guys had took it off one of the vehicles we had been using and put it over the top of where we lay, and it was really well camouflaged, where to the point that if you did not know where it was, you would easily walk into it without seeing it. I had rested my rifle in those days was a standard issue SLR rifle, and we had a night scope, which we swapped over on stag changes. The standard of night scopes in those days were rubbish, and you could barely see 10 to 15 feet in front of you, even using the night scope we had. It weighed a ton on what was really heavy personal weapon in those days. Nobody liked using them. So about an hour and a half later, the first glimpses of daylight are starting to appear. Not too much, but it enabled me to see a few feet further along both tracks in front of me. My eyes by this time had adjusted to the night, and I had my full night vision. To my left, I heard some footsteps in the distance. At first, I thought I was just imagining but I heard a thud, like someone was walking towards me. The track ran along the woods where we were all situated, albeit the other guys were well tucked away. The footsteps stopped, and I tried to see who was making them, but it was too dark still. My initial thought was someone had wandered out of the forest to take a leak and probably just got lost and then made their way back in. By this time, I was thinking maybe it was the moose again that I'd seen the day before, and about a minute or two later, the footsteps started again, getting louder and louder until I saw what I thought was a bear about 30 feet away to my left. On the track was a massive bulk, standing on two legs, and it stopped again. I could see it was looking over into our side of the forest, and it just stood there and didn't make a sound. It just stood there listening. From our position, we were elevated about 8 to 10 feet above the track, and this thing was huge. I had absolutely no idea what it was other than my mind telling me it was a bear, which it definitely was not. It then walked up right in front of me and stopped on the track. It was that close. I could hear it breathing loud. At this point, I'm crapping myself and did not make a sound. I'm not ashamed to say, Wes, I was really scared at this point. I thought, do I shoot my rifle, which meant having to cock the rifle and put a round in the chamber, which by the time I had done so, this thing would have gotten to our position, and what good would a blank do other than to alert everyone? I could see its face, and it was looking at me, but also looking side to side, so my guess was that point either had not seen me directly, but it knew it sensed we were there. Its head was level with my eye line, and I could see it was hairy, with a big flat nose and white teeth. It was sniffing the air, and it curled its top lip up, almost like it was tasting the air. It was breathing heavily, and it kept on looking to its left and right, scanning the woods we were all in. The one thing I remember was the breathing. It was very deep, and its head was like a triangle shaped like a cone. I couldn't tell what color it was, but as it was still partially silhouetted in the trees behind it. But it was a huge animal. At that point, I must question my sanity as it literally disappeared on the spot as I was watching it. It vanished into thin air. At first, I thought it had ducked down, but it hadn't. I adjusted myself to peer over the track floor, but it was not there. It literally disappeared on the spot. I thought I was seeing things, but I know what I saw. I heard it move off into the woods opposite as I heard footsteps in the forest walking away, but to this day, I could not work out and still don't understand how it just vanished in front of me. My only rational explanation to myself was that I must have gotten distracted or shut my eyes for 5 seconds, but I know I didn't. I couldn't take my eyes off of it. Now, after this incident, I did not say a word to anyone, as the fear of ridicule would have been horrendous. I did speak to the ranger guy we had with us and asked him if any bears came out of hibernation early, and he asked, did I see one? I said, I think I saw a bear, and then he said to me something strange. He said, you didn't see a hairy man then? I just laughed, but he knew from my face I had seen something scary. And he knew what I had seen, but did not say anything else or push me on it. Nobody ever spoke about any Sasquatches on the whole deployment. And if you have asked me what a Sasquatch was way back then, I would not have had a clue what anyone was talking about. I've always questioned what I saw that night, but listening to your podcast and listening to people's experiences, I'm pretty sure what I saw was one. But even to this day, I've never spoken to anyone about it, not even close family. Wow. That's crazy. Huh. Chucky's going for a hike tomorrow. Well, be careful out there, Chucky. Just be careful. Just never know. There's a lot of bears working to get fat for the hibernation, as well as other things. There's other things in those hills. Just saying. That's a great story. Fascinating. I don't know. There again, what do you do with that? It disappeared right in front of the guy. Not a lot of light, but some light. Did it go transparent? He heard it walking away. He just didn't see it anymore. I don't know. It's not like it jumped into a different dimension. It did walk away. He heard it walking into the woods, but it just disappeared in front of him. And then he heard the footsteps of it walking away. So it was still there, but it wasn't there. I don't know. These are the tough stories, folks. These are the ones that you got to wonder. What are we dealing with? What is this? I wish I knew. I wish I had the answers. I just try so hard to rationalize what does that mean? And maybe it's not rational because, I mean, it's talking about mechanics that we can't possibly understand. But the hard part is how do these allegedly primitive beings understand it? Or are they not primitive beings at all? But they live primitively. There's the conundrum. I don't know. This is where I get stuck a lot. I didn't realize I never even put the article up for you guys, did I? Sorry. You had to look at my face reading that whole thing. Yeah, I'm still not 100%. I'm actually sweating here as I'm reading this. But it's a curious story. I wonder if dirt or leaves had been thrown at it, would it have been visible? Yeah, that's a great question. But to do that, you'd have to expose yourself. And how would this thing react? Can you be sure it would just be, oh, there's people, get away? Or would it be, oh, there's people, oh, smash, I mean, you don't know. There's 8 or 10 feet of something huge, and it's looking for you. It can tell you're there, just not quite sure where. So if it knows where you are, what next? So I think it left mostly because it knew someone was there, but it couldn't quite work out where it was. So it's like, all right, I'm out of here. I don't know. I don't trust this. So it went away. But if it had known, would it have gone aggressively towards that? Probably not, because anecdotally we've heard so many stories of them just basically seeing people and wandering away or running away, but they just don't seem to persist in our areas. If they become aware of us, they move away. Or they move us away by intimidation. But I don't know. Bears are scary. Yeah, absolutely. I agree, Ruthie. Bears are calorie machines. I mean, they eat to survive. They're not real emotional about it. And if you ever see a bear eat something, it's not pretty. Bears, when they eat, they aren't like the big cats. The big cats will smother something and, choke it out, and it'll be dead by the time they start eating it. But bears, they just start chewing. They'll disembowel things while they're alive and squirming. It's horrible. They are absolutely monstrous in their killing. The feral cats are nasty too. They are, but they will work instantly to incapacitate its target first. The bears will just start chewing. They'll start chewing and tearing. Doesn't matter alive or dead. They don't care. Just, Yep. They go for your head. You're right. Yep. Head or throat. Yep. Neck. Absolutely. But that's, millions of years of training. I mean, of course, most things that want to kill their prey. They don't want something wounded while they try to eat it, because if it can still move, it could still hurt them. But a bear just doesn't care. They just keep biting and tearing. They're tanks, though. Bears are tanks. It's hard. You just can't. Your hand could not generate enough force to make a bear go, "Oh, I'm changing my mind," unless you manage to hit it right on the nose somehow. But would you take that? Would you throw your own meat near the mouth because you're trying to hit a nose? I wouldn't. I wouldn't. I'd keep everything away from the mouth as much as I could. So, fourth caller, you remembered. Yay, thank you. That's one other thing I did today earlier was I did update the members screen on the end. So watch for your name. If you're a member, you should be on that list. If you ever look at there and your name isn't there, just message me if you would. But I got the most recent member sheets and went through and got rid of the ones that didn't renew and put up the ones that did, and the new members as well. So love to have you be a member of the channel. It helps out a bunch. Of course, super chats help out a bunch. Just liking the streams help out a bunch. And recommending the show to people helps out a bunch. Lots of ways to help the show. And some of us can't do it monetarily. So, there's plenty of other ways to help out, though. And everything you do means the world to me. So thank you. You see there's a new sign back here? That's a zombie crossing sign right behind me here. Right there. So it kind of matches the Bigfoot crossing over there. But that was a gift from Barry, who I interviewed on this week's podcast. Really cool guy. And he's a hell of an artist as well. So that one was easy to hang because it had a hole in it. I still have a lot of your artworks that you guys have sent in that I have to hang, but I have to get frames and stuff for all of it and special mounts for most of it. So that's why it's not currently up on the walls. And it probably won't be on camera anyway. It'll probably be off on the other walls in the room. But I love the stuff you guys have sent. That's awesome. Barry also sent me a lot of other things he's done. He's just a really, really talented artist. Yeah, it was a fun interview for sure, Barbara. You're right. Yep. All right. So let's get to the next one because we got about 20 minutes left of the show. Wow. It's going so fast. It goes so fast. All right. How big is this one? This one's pretty short too. I got a couple short ones from Sasquatch Chronicles here. This one is a photo one as well. God, that doesn't look real. I don't know if that looks real or not. All right, you be the judge. We'll look at it in a minute. It's too square. I don't think that looks real to me. But anyway, you can be the judge. Those of you that can see, this is one of those stories that's going to help if you're on YouTube because you can see. There are pictures included with this one from Sasquatch Chronicles blog. This is from September 25th, Sasquatch Chronicles blog. Strange tracks found in Lewis County, Kentucky. A listener writes, my daughter and son-in-law ran across these tracks while riding their Razor, I guess. It's one of those side-by-sides. Yeah. 2 pics are all of the same footprint. One with my daughter's foot and one with my son-in-law's, and the other is on harder ground. There are many stories and loud screams associated with the area at the time when these pics were taken. There were even people hunting for the animal. Now there's a pic, and you can see the hard part is that the toes are very squared off, even looking like long toes. I'll show you this other toe. This, I think, is the woman's foot. And there's the man's foot there. But you can see that toes generally are not that long. I don't know. This is a tough one for me. Now, the interesting thing is the impact. I don't know. There's some pressure that was exerted because it did flatten out this ground to a bit. It's not granular like all the rest of the strata around. Like, I would assume this must be some kind of mud, and where it imprinted was wet at the time, and it dried this way. But I don't know. The problem is this looks so mechanically perfect, and the toes are so long. I don't know. 1, 2, 3, 4. I don't know. There's like a second toe in there. Could be though. These pics haven't been shared with anyone individually. Maybe Facebook, and are a couple years old. I know what I'm seeing, but offer these as nothing more than really good pics of Bigfoot's journey through Kentucky. I've been hesitant for sharing them, but I ran across your podcast, and I believe you would appreciate them. I would share that exact location upon request. But that's really long, though. I don't know. Every other track that I've ever seen, if the phalanges are the toe bones, just like your fingers are phalanges as well. And then it goes to the metatarsals. On your hands, it's the metacarpals, and then to the carpals, and then to the calcaneus and all that. But if this is still phalange up here, it looks like, because there's real distinct impressions of the entire toe line. So if this thing has extraordinarily long toes, I don't know. I mean, is it impossible? No, but it's so unusual. And then they have this real pronounced sharp ridge right there where it goes down into the rest of the footprint. To me, it looks suspect because this is extraordinarily flat. It doesn't show any bulging from the mid-tarsal hinge or the mid-tarsal break, as some say. But there should be a bulge right up in here where dirt was piled up, but it's only right here, and I don't know how that works. This looks really odd to me. The toe lengths are all very similar, so it's a hoax, unless the toes maybe slipped in the mud when bending the foot. Yeah, but again, the only thing that's showing any kind of motion is the toes. The foot is a static imprint, as if it's stamped. But this is the only thing that's showing potential movement, but it's not affecting the rest of the foot. I don't think these are legit, to be honest with you. It looks very mechanical. That's unfortunate. The other thing is generally speaking, Sasquatch feet don't really have an arch because of the mid-tarsal hinge. Generally, they tend to be a real deliberate imprint all around. They don't have the arch here like we have because of where their hinges are. Our hinges towards the ball of the foot. Theirs is back further here where there's hinges. So that's why when Sasquatch tracks, you'll get a big mound where they step off and it pushes the soil up as it steps. Was there toe prints? These are the toe prints up here, but they're extraordinarily long. I don't know. I'm not feeling it personally. I don't know what we're looking at here, but it really looks like something scooped and then laid it back down here is what it looks like. I don't know. It's very peculiar. Anyone caught faking something and passing off as real should be arrested and charged with conspiracy to defraud the public. Yeah, that'd be awesome. It looks mostly artificial to me too. Yeah, I agree, Android. Yep, I think we're on the same page here. That's what I thought. What do you guys think? Yeah, RJ doesn't know either. Yeah, I don't either. If this doesn't show any motion, all of this looks like it was rubber stamped into the ground. This at least demonstrates something happened here moving the soil, but it's so isolated, there's no mechanics on the rest of the foot. I just don't believe this is legit. Yeah. But you guys be the judge. That'd be my take. Those toes are way long and they're very square. You look at how squared off they are. It's like a spoon or something. I don't know. I don't get it, but it's really unusual. So anyway, yeah, I'm not saying there's no Bigfoot in the area. There very well could be, but I'm just not convinced that this is the imprint of one. I think there's Bigfoot everywhere, to be honest with you. I don't, any area can have Bigfoots, but I just am not convinced that this is the track of one. So they could definitely have a lot of activity in the area, and I wouldn't argue with that, but I just don't think the mechanics of this just don't match every other print that I've seen. Not that I'm Dr. Jeff Meldrum or even Cliff Barrickman, but it just seems artificial to me. My gut is saying, nope, no way. But, I could be absolutely wrong. I'm not a Sasquatch track authority, but I at least have seen many, many imprints and many demonstrations of casts and seen presentations by Jeff Meldrum and by Cliff Barrickman, by Ken Gerhard. I think I at least have a reasonable knowledge base, and this one doesn't seem to follow a lot of that. All right, so let's go to this one. I saw a large creature on September 24th. A listener writes, I'm originally from northwest corner of Connecticut, and all but one of my encounters happened there. I grew up hunting and fishing in the mountains and streams around my hometown. Excuse me. I'm very comfortable in the woods and familiar with all the animals you would normally encounter in New England. I would always tell people I brought into the woods that the only two animals you really have to worry about in that area are black bears and the occasional moose. In 2009, I was 16 years old and had just bought my first truck. I was working as a barback in a local town, so when I got out of work, it was close to 2 a.m. As a newly licensed driver, I didn't want to go home. I wanted to drive around with the window down, blaring country music while smoking the cigs I took from my mom when she wasn't looking. I might have read this one already, but we're reading it again. The normal route home would take me about 20 minutes, but I decided to take a very roundabout way, so my commute home was going to take about an hour and a half. So I got within 15 minutes of my house. I turned into the last back road before hitting the main road that would take me home. The road I turned onto went down a steep incline for about 60 yards, and then there was a bridge across the river. After that, the oaks and pines and maples faded suddenly into farmland. I was halfway down the incline when I saw something start to move on the right side of the road. Having grown up in New England, I knew that to slam the brakes because the deer in that area would wreck a full-size pickup. I came to a stop right before the bridge, maybe about 50 feet away. I saw a large creature walk across the road in front of me. The angle of my headlights only illuminated the lower body of the creature, which was walking on 2 feet. It was covered in dark brown or black hair as its hands swung back and forth. They would swing well below the hip line. It cleared the two-lane road in maybe 4 steps, never breaking stride. The creature stepped into the wood line and then turned, heading down the embankment towards the river. I sat there stunned until a foul smell hanging in the air snapped me back into reality. I hit the gas and must have drove double the speed limit the whole way home. When I got home, I went into my room, closed all the blinds, and stayed awake until the sun rose. I had a strong feeling I knew what that was that I saw, but I chose not to discuss it with anyone. I didn't want anyone to think my cheese was slipping off the cracker. Yeah, no doubt. That's creepy. I know we read that one before. My apologies. But it's just the way it works. Just the way it works. Sometimes I remember where the hell I'm at, and other times I have no idea. Let's see what time we got here. 45. How many is this? Yeah, we can read this one. This is starting off from phantomsandmonsters.com, folks. This is Lon Strickler's site. Please support what he's doing as well. Lon has his own podcast, the Phantoms and Monsters podcast, or Phantoms and Monsters Radio, and you can find it on YouTube as well. So head over there and definitely subscribe and build his numbers up. But it's a great source and resource for all of these reports on his phantomsandmonsters.com as well as his published works. So definitely help support. And Lon was on our show not too long ago, so we got that going for us as well. It was a great talk. Had a good time with Lon. All right, so this one is several upright cryptid canines encountered in southwestern Pennsylvania. Yeah, southwestern Pennsylvania is no joke actually Pennsylvania as a whole. The whole state's got cryptids all over it. A Navy vet and his friends were hiking in an undisclosed location in southwest Pennsylvania when they began to encounter tall cryptid canines along the trail they were on. The witness, he asked his name not to be used, a Navy vet in his late 50s, was camping with some old Navy buddies in a very remote area of forest in southwestern Pennsylvania, most likely in Greene County. It was in June 2021, and they had spent most of the day hiking to the location. It was around dusk when they set up their tents. The witness went off alone to gather firewood, and it was now getting dark, but he was only 30 yards away from the camp and had his .45 with him. He soon realized he was being flanked on his left and his right side by something, and he called out to his friends, who arrived to check on him. As they walked on the trail, a 7 to 8 foot tall wolf-like creature standing on two legs emerged from the forest. He described it as a massive, with the chest like a bodybuilder. Its eyes were glowing yellow and it was gnashing its teeth. A type of slime was dripping from its mouth. The creature charged at them, but was impeded by a large boulder which seemingly came out of nowhere and impacted the side of its head, causing it to fall into the ravine. Oh my God, the men rushed back to camp. A second wolf-like creature, even larger than the first, stepped out and also charged at them, and it too was struck by an object. This time a tree, which caused a cracking sound and felled the creature. As the men watched, a large creature covered in hair, standing about 10 feet tall, with noticeable breasts, stepped out of the forest. It was holding a log in its hands, and it was joined by another hairy creature standing 12 feet tall. The creature stared at the men. The female then pointed down the trail, and the men sensed she was telling them to leave the area. They rushed back to camp. Since it was too far and too late to hike out, the men made a bonfire using any wood close by or already gathered and stayed up all night with the weapons drawn. They could hear the two sets of creatures circling their camp. At one point, another one of the wolf-like creatures stepped out of the forest and walked in their direction, but it was stopped by one of the Bigfoot-like creatures, which emerged out of the forest and attacked it with a large stick. At dawn, the terrified men broke camp and, despite their exhaustion, made their way back down the trail and out of the area. Dear God. What in the hell do you make of that? The Bigfoot rescued him. That's a really cool story. Huh. So 3 times these dogmen or something of the sort were trying to attack these guys. And all 3 times these 2 Bigfoot interceded. That's pretty cool. Now, is it a true story? I don't know. Lon says I can't verify this account, but southwestern Pennsylvania is well known for cryptid canine events. So a 12-foot Bigfoot's a lot of Bigfoot, though. Holy God. You imagine the strength, and the 10-foot female. Imagine the strength there. I don't know how big the dog things were. Did it say? 7 to 8 foot tall wolf creature. So 7 or 8 feet tall. That's still a hell of a lot of animal with fangs and claws. So you can be sure that they would be incredibly lethal. But apparently the Bigfoot are just a little more badass on that deal. I don't know. I don't usually say words like that. Sorry. They're slipping out in my fever state. My filter is not as functioning. But that's pretty cool. I don't know. Crazy. Could it be? Sure. I've heard other reports like this. They're very rare, but they do come up. And most of the reports I've heard like that are very pro Bigfoot. I don't hear many where the Bigfoots are outclassed. Although talking to Vic Cundiff, he said that if dogmen enter area, Bigfoot usually leave. Well, Maybe if they got babies, they would rather leave than try to, challenge it for the safety of their young one, waiting, which is, the dogmen may wait and wait and wait for the Bigfoot to do something wrong and then go in and take the baby. So maybe that's why they leave. But maybe if they don't have offspring, they'll stay and defend the territory. But 3 of them? Wow. I don't know if it's 3 of them or just 2 of them and 2 of the Bigfoot. But in any case, that's a powerful event. Well, be careful out in those hills, folks. That's all I can tell you. You just never know. But you know what I know? I know we've about made it to the end of our journey. Holy macaroni. And I'm kind of a sweaty mess, but I guess we made it, right? So far, we made it. I've had a good time. I hope you guys have had a good time as well. I don't know. I love stories like that, though, because they're incredibly powerful and interesting, and it does make it seem like the Bigfoot are kind of the sentinels, so to speak. Maybe keeping peace, maybe keeping balance. I've heard stories through the years of Bigfoot having dogmen as like underlings. I've heard stories of them operating as 2 very different tribes in an area, just having very specific boundaries and being competitive, but respecting the boundaries. I don't know. I don't know what to make of it. Maybe it's all the above. It's hard to say. I know that there's allegedly several, for lack of a better term, types of Bigfoot. I don't know if there is types or not, but some of the Bigfoot types tend to be more animalistic, like what's called the Gugwe, which is apparently this incredibly ferocious version of Bigfoots that even the normal Bigfoot avoid, because allegedly they'll kill anything. They don't care. But whatever the case is, good thing those Bigfoot were there, because otherwise there'd be 3 dead service people that went camping. That's absolutely terrifying. So I don't know what you guys, but I've had a good time talking to you tonight. It's been a bit of a marathon for me. I'm sorry my energy's a little low. I'm still on the mend. I'm still getting my feet under me, but I got a few days to do it now before the member stream on Tuesday night. But again, just to remind you, we're going to do member streams on Tuesday nights for members of the channel, just hangouts, basically. We're just going to hang out and do the thing because, well, we can. And just to give you guys members, those of you that are members, some perks. There's also videos coming out that you'll have early access to. Just about done with the first one. We've had a few revisions that weren't planned, but I think we're almost there. I just got to tighten up a few things on screen and a few volumes, and then I got to re-render it and put that out. So that'll be coming out very soon as well, and then I'll be working on a second video. I've got about 5 of them or 4 of them now, or 4 or 5 in the can, waiting to be built into episodes, but it should be good. Should be good, by God. So, love, peace, and chicken grease, Chucky says. There you go. And thank you, everybody, for coming in. It's been great seeing you guys. The other part of not doing shows is I miss hanging out with you guys. It's a big part of my life, doing these shows and getting together with you guys and sharing ideas, sharing stories, hearing your thoughts. And I'm sorry if I haven't been watching the chat that well tonight, but I'm doing great. Thanks, James. James says, thanks, Brent. Prayers for your healing. I am really doing much, much, much better. Yesterday, I was not doing good at all. In fact, that was probably my worst day yesterday, just because of the fever and the shivering and stuff and the aches. That was horrible. That was right before I was going to go on the show, and I was like, wait a minute, I don't feel good. So I decided to not come and do a show yesterday, which was good because I just spent the whole evening wrapped in blankets, shivering and sweating and shivering and sweating. So I seem to have gotten past that part of it now. So doing good. I'm just fine. By Tuesday, I should just be about good as, what did they say? Right as rain? I don't know. Something like that. So anyway, that's going to about wrap it up for the show tonight. Remember, we'll be back on Wednesday night. Of course, for the regular stream, Don should be here, and we'll dive into a couple more hours of the portal and see what we can See if we can churn up. I'm sure we'll have a good time. And it'll be good to get the band all back together. Sheldon would have almost was going to come on tonight. He was going to come on last night, but I called him like, no, I can't do it. I'm not ready yet. So he was maybe going to come on tonight, but he got tied up and couldn't make it. So we made it though. Hope you guys enjoyed the journey. Every show is an adventure. What is it? What is it, Minion? You can open it. Yeah, you can. Yeah. You want to say goodnight to everybody? Okay, come over here. All right, tell everybody.
Good night, everybody.
All right, everybody. Love you all. Be good, be kind, be nice. Take care of each other. Help each other out. Find the magic in every day and remember to laugh as much as you can. And what should they do, Elijah?
Like and subscribe.
What was that? Come here.
Like and subscribe.
Like and subscribe and share.
Share.
That's right. Like and subscribe and share. So if you haven't done that, please do that because the Minion told you to. And yeah, we'll be back on Wednesday, Tuesday for members. So I'll look for you then. But until then, folks, that's going to wrap it up here. You guys have a great rest of your weekend. And I'll be talking to you soon. Until then, peace out. Take care of yourselves.
Censorship and regulation is becoming an ever-growing problem in today's modern media.